Welcome to the Super Fresh 808 podcast, your home for Hawaii-based dance music scene topics and discussions. Music, drama, history, DJs, producing, and more.
Welcome to the Super Fresh 808 podcast. Sorry about that. We had to restart. My name is DJ Tide, Corey Ferren, spellbinder, and a videographer, Tim. So we have a special guest, Dev. Dev is from LA. He used to be a DJ / party kid here in Hawaii. And he was explaining it before we had to restart. My bad. About where he's from. Can you briefly go over that again?
Dev Chang. Started partying in Hawaii around 2000. Started spinning in 2001. Was a resident of 1739, also known as Galaxy, for about 4 years. Switched over to house music from trance, like under the Casa promotion, and moved to LA in 2010, and then been there ever since. And once in a while, fly back here.
So I wanted to ask you, how did you come up with your name, Spellbinder? I've always been curious.
So I was spinning trance. I wanted to spin trance, and like all the good stuff was coming on from like Germany at the time, I guess. And wanted something that sounded kind of Germanic and like 3 syllables, and I don't know.
That was like casting spells on people.
It has a, yeah. Well, I don't.
Like
yeah.
Dungeons and Dragons kind of stuff, or
not that bad, but lightning bolt. But anyway, no, it's cool. Like, I think that was it. I just needed something that was a little bit like ethereal, I guess. Like if you heard
match
my
the whole
sets,
trance style. Right?
yeah, that trance style. Like especially the stuff I was playing was like very, very eyes rolling back kind of thing, and
Right,
like,
epic trance and the vocal trance, and
yeah. So like I wanted that image to be like in people's heads, and that was pretty much, yeah, that's what kind of formed it.
nice. So we're gonna go back in the topic of history of venues. We were talking about 111 King Street, which was one of the main venues for the bigger parties. We were talking about Thomas Michael. Who else DJ'd there?
Yeah, it was like a whole summer of it. Thomas Michael, Christopher Lawrence. I know, like there was a Love Fest that was thrown there. I think it got shut down. Yeah,
Deep Blue Dream there.
Deep Blue Dream was that was in Kunia.
You're right.
It was
Kuneo Golf Course.
Kunia
Yeah.
Golf Course. And I got lost for like half the night trying to get to this venue.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that went. Yeah, I forgot what year that was. What, 2002, 2003, something like that.
Right before the downfall.
Yeah, during was that the one they brought out like the big laser for?
Right.
Okay, so yeah, there's
DJ
like
Rap, I think, played there once, or was.
Oh, it was one of the. It was one of the Imaginary Friends like guys like their like pool of headliners that came down. I forgot what the guy's name was.
Oh, he was off of the Nucleus label.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, Nucleus.
Yeah, that brings back some.
That's some old school labels.
Yeah, so like when that was going on, like Nucleus was coming out with like this thing called Energy, NRG, and it was like a form of like harder kind of like progressive house.
Before it became hard dance, right?
Yeah, that was like that's the soup before it, like that. It had this kind of like Hoover thing in the background going. If for the people that don't know like what Hoover is, it's like, you know, Hoover vacuums, you got that like kind of like effect
that's
going.
why it's called Hoover. I always wondered about that.
So like that music, that the looping, yeah, that looping beat has like a Hoover kind of like effect on it. So that's like what Energy was. Like it was this really hard thing. And yeah, like at least half the DJs were like playing it, at least like dabbling in there. Nucleus, that's like it all came from one label.
I remember one of my favorite labels was Indecent and Tidy Tracks. I only played Tidy Tracks because my name is DJ Tide, so I kind of felt like I had to represent them a little bit.
Is that how you got your name?
No.
Okay.
How I got my name was I used to wear a shirt with the Tide logo on it, and everybody called me Tide Boy. And it's too long of a spiel to talk about right now. I'll talk about it some other time.
It's all about the music.
Right. Another venue. It's not really a venue, but one of my favorite spots that we used to all party at on weekends when there were no parties was Kaka'ako. That place, we used to just go there and hang out. And
that we should put that up as like its own like venue too.
We would be there till like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, just hanging out, listening to music in someone's car and chilling.
Yeah, I think after like 1739 when that closed down at like 6 a.m., I think people like spilled over to like Kaka'ako, also known as Cracks, Kraka'ako Park.
And the reason why it was called Cracks, if you want to elaborate for the listeners, Dev.
Oh, everybody's cracked out. Like,
Everybody's all cracked out after the
you're
night.
just like, oh, either you're caffeined out or like you're just you just needed a place to just chill and like come down and watch the sunrise and listen to some music. And all the clubs are closed. Obviously, that's like the last of them closed would be 17s.
And this was before Kaka'ako actually looked really nice. Before it was just still being converted from a trash.
It was like a parking lot, and that was it.
It was a parking lot. It wasn't even finished back then yet. So
yeah, like there was like this like concrete slab in the middle of the place, and then like they would like steal power from like whatever like power line they could. Like at one point it was locked, and they had to like cut through the lock just to get to the power, and like power the turntables basically. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the legendary parties that was held at Kaka'ako was Future 2000. We kind of talked about that last time. Were you there for that, Dev? I came, but I didn't know anybody back then, so I just.
I was not there for Future. That night turn of the century 2000. There was a few parties going on at the same time. So there was that at Kaka'ako. There was the Eye, which is its own Future. Like that party was called Future as well. I was there.
Oh, we got to talk about the Eye in a bit,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, we got to talk about the Eye.
Atomics.
Oh, Atomics, Climbers. Yeah, we'll go into that
we'll
after.
go over that.
Yeah,
but
totally.
but like Future though, like what was there was like a DJ.
Carl Cox. He played in Australia and then flew and played
there was
Hawaii.
this crazy idea where Carl Cox would fly around the world, like would play the Millennium coming in every time zone. Twice.
Yeah, it was Australia and Hawaii.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah, so that's like so he would play a set and then jump on a plane and go to the next venue and then and what ended up in Hawaii, like the last set would be in Hawaii.
Props to G Spot and Double Spot and everyone BBC for doing that, because that's a legendary party in my eyes.
Yeah, I'm not gonna forget that party.
If
That
you
party
look around,
was,
I think that MP3 file is still floating around somewhere out there.
There's actually a video. DJ Scart has uploaded a video on YouTube that shows the whole documentary that BBC made for the event.
Oh, sick.
But his actual mix is still around there. You can listen to it.
Yeah. So if you're looking for it, it's Future with a PH.
I think that was like Hawaii's first massive that we ever had here.
Like literally massive.
Yeah, there was 10,000 people easy at Kaka'ako, and I was meeting people from Europe, from Australia, from everywhere. It was just a crazy night.
That was probably like the first and last big one. I don't know. Like Kaka'ako was a mess afterwards. I think everybody left it kind of like in shambles. So like I think the state kind of like put a cap on it for a long time. I think.
Well, until they started doing Love Fest there in 2007, 2008.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah, that was kind of a while.
Yeah, there was a lot of politics from what I heard for the reasoning for not doing events there. But so let's talk about the other venues that we used to attend back in the day. And one of them was the legendary Atomics. You guys want to elaborate on that?
Oh, man. Atomics was this abandoned warehouse on, what is that, Mokuea Street?
I think so.
Yeah, and so Matt Grimm was throwing a lot of parties there. Abandoned warehouse. A lot of kids came out to each of these parties, and really was a good time. Even though it was a rundown warehouse, basically. You sit down on the floor, you're not gonna be clean. You need some Tide. But yeah, awesome place. That along with Climbers. Climbers was this, it was literally a rock climbing place. They had this wall that, was like a fake rock. And during the day, people would come and rock climb on these things. And we were throwing events there. And that was pretty crazy.
What year was that? It was like 8 to like 2000, something like that?
Yeah, late 90s, early 2000s.
I totally missed that place. I came in too late.
Oh, really?
So I never got to Climbers. I never got to Atomics.
Yeah, Atomics was the first venue I ever went to for raves when I came back for vacation from Cali, because I was going to school up there. And I barely remember anything from there. I just remember it being a warehouse, and that's all I remember. My memory doesn't go that far back anymore. Climbers, I just remember people were like jumping from the top of the climbing thing on the bottom because it was squishy.
Yeah, I had like that Nerf stuff. So kids were just...
the foam.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those are two of the two, and then another one was the Eye. And I remember that place was kind of sketchy because I remember there was like big holes in the second floor that you had to like.
Yeah.
It was kind of it looked like a post-apocalyptic kind of like situation going. There's like asphalt on the ground. The basements are way too big, and like chain link fence everywhere, and it looked kind of like if you watch those movies or just like those rave movies, like it kind of like looked like that. Yeah, it felt like very much like a coherent like rave club. And a lot of the goth kids would like hang out there. That's where dungeons were around that time. It was a no holds bar kind of like gothic / BDSM club, which we'll talk about that later, but like more on that later. But anyway, so like this guy Matt Grimm kind of like ran that, and Atomics and Shelter. So Shelter was 1739. And
what was the other name for Shelter? 1739 Galaxy, but there was one more. Home.
That was another one. Yeah, it's like different promotions. I think it just kind of bled over. It was called Cloud9 at one point.
Cloud9 was.
Yeah, it was Cloud9 was like an old I used to belong to like a crew, like a rave crew.
Because there's another crew called Cloud9 with a bunch of DJs.
That was
in Hawaii.
That was us.
No, I mean nowadays though.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's related to.
No, it's unrelated.
Okay.
It's a good name.
Yeah, it is.
They have good taste.
Totally.
Oh, there was more though. Like up the street from the Eye was a place called Pyramids.
Pyramids. I never got to go there, but there's a video that I think Scarred or Keebler uploaded where you could see like what it looks like and everybody's singing and dancing and having fun, and it looked like a really good vibe.
Yeah, that was they threw a promotion called Insomnia there, or Raveaholics. I was like depends on like the parties. There's flyers of this with, I don't know if anybody like collected this stuff, but that was the first time I ever heard Scarred, PSI. Like those are the guys I didn't get exposed to until like I ever went there. It was like a almost gang kind of thing. Like, are you a 17s kind of guy? Or are you like
very territorial and different not cliques, but
groups.
It's
it's like, oh, I refuse to go because whatever. But it's dumb because we were kids, but. Yeah, I think we were like 18 or something, 19 at the time. Yep.
Oh man,
you guys were.
You were like what, 20s, mid 20s?
Yeah.
What's another good spot that we used to party at? I think there was Cavallo Studio, but that
didn't happen until like 2003, 2004, something like that. But before that, what was that place by Eno Street, Eno Road?
I'm not too sure.
What I was talking
Cadillac.
about? Pink Cadillac, but before that it was called...
before that.
Flamingos or no?
Evos.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So around that time, there was another place, but Eno Road, like at the beginning of Waikiki. Another after hours place. I don't know who ran that.
I'm not too sure. I was still a noob at the time, so I didn't know anyone.
Oh man, yeah, I know the guys, but I forget what their crew name was. But like somebody will be on here soon enough to like fill that in. But that was another one, another trans venue.
We can't forget Venus. Venus was
Perpetual Groove on Thursdays. I remember that. That was I think G Spot ran that.
Yeah, he did for a couple of years, and then Livewire.
That was like. Yeah, early kind of like house clubs, I guess, like in that kind of like time.
Yeah, that's about the time I got involved with Livewire. Was Venus days. Was that like 2006, 2007?
Yeah, 2006 to 2007 when Master Wong first started it, and then J Girl and Eric took over, and it blew up from there.
There was Wave Waikiki.
The Wave.
My goodness.
Yeah. So right across the street from Evolutions is Wave Waikiki. At the time, it was like one of the oldest clubs in Waikiki, only next to Hula's, which is So Wave went down in what? I don't know what year.
2007, 2008.
I want to say around there. And then now Hula's is the oldest.
Wave was hella fun, man. That's I started playing for G Spot again back in that day, and he would bring me down. Flash would bring me down to the Wave, and we'd play like Speed Garage.
Oh, nice.
And if you don't know what Speed Garage is, it's a lot like Future House, how it is now. Really bass heavy house. And oh man, that place went off. You know, all the tourists. It's right there in the middle of in the beginning of Waikiki, but
It was right next to the bridge into Waikiki.
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
that place went off, man. Like, you know, be like a Tuesday night. You know, the place would be packed. Good fun.
Yeah, it could be live music, could be like a DJ. Yeah, they had
Could be rock bands or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's when I do graphic designs like for a long time. So I did like a lot of like club flyers, and like I used to do their flyers like from way back in the day.
Oh, you gotta upload those on the or send it to me so I can put it on the Super Fresh website.
Oh,
Day.
Okay. Yeah, I'll put it in the show notes.
Nice. So we were talking about all these venues and the different promotions that promoted at the venues. So I want to go into the next topic, which is promoting etiquette, because back then, oh man, it was ruthless. I think back then, because promotions used to do like really dirty tricks to one another. They used to call the cops on each other.
Yeah, called bomb threats and, you know, pull fire alarms, that kind of thing.
Right. And
Any example of that? Like,
I don't want to name names,
Yeah.
but it's
Oh.
happened quite often, all the way up to like 2007, 2008. Pretty dirty stuff, but if you're a business and you want to make money, that's what you got to do, I guess.
I heard like one story of like I'm not gonna name names, but like somebody had like a pocket full of flyers. Like let's just say like 500 flyers, and like they can fit it in their hand. They went to like Ala Moana, the top floor. They just flung it right in the middle. And, like the thing just rained. Like just
Were they part of that promotion or against?
yeah, they were part of it.
Okay, that's really. I think that's bad because you can get fined.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But like nobody said anything. You know, like 5,000 like what thousands of people showed up to the party. So I guess
wow.
it worked at one point.
Right.
And nobody did it ever again.
I wouldn't chance it nowadays. They're so strict, especially with
This was in 2000.
Okay, this is before the whole rave act.
Yeah,
and everything.
nobody knew what was going on.
I think the big thing now with it is with promoting here in Hawaii is that even though the scene has gotten so much larger than it was when, you know, we were running around doing stuff, I think the big thing now is that, like we were talking last week or last month, how there's something literally every week, every Friday, Saturday, and you know, as it was back in the day, and it is now. I mean, promoters are starting to throw big events on the same nights as other promoters, and it is becoming that big competition on, you know, how many people can we get out. Honestly, I don't think the scene is large enough to sustain that. We'll see what happens, but you know, it happened back in the day too. I mean, someone would throw a party in town, another person would throw another party just outside of town, and you're kind of making people.
It splits the scene in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never understood that. Like, you could work with other people to help build the scene, and you know, if you build the scene, you can get more people to go out, and you guys could take turns. I always felt like that, but I'm so jaded now with how things have happened with our events in the past, and I think with etiquette, a lot of it is the promoters see how popular parties are and see how much money promotions make, so they just go in, you know, cutthroat and just try to like screw everybody else over, and it's so tacky. Like, I've never really liked that.
Cutthroat isn't like just for starters, just like have your flyer crew go into the party, into like other people's parties, and just like start distributing stuff like.
Oh, worse than
No,
that.
yeah.
They would
Oh yeah, that's just like, you know,
Right.
just like 101 type stuff.
Yeah, or, you know, pulling down another promotion's flyers that are, you
putting
know,
your flyers over the other promotions, yeah, and then taking pictures and posting it on social media, that kind of stuff.
I think, you know, here in Hawaii we should be a little bit different, man. And, you know, here, you know, it's about all that aloha, and I don't see it having a place here for that kind of stuff. I mean, maybe I'm just getting old as the new way, but, you know, to me it's not right.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, Hawaii is known as the Aloha State, but when certain substances are involved and egos get involved, people tend to not care about that kind of stuff, and it's sad. A lot of I think is that with the whole plur movement of the rave scene, you know, people just get so jaded to it because for whatever reasons they stop believing in it, that they just, you know, they forget what the rave scene is about, which is going out and having fun, being yourself. Instead of doing that, they're more about, you know, who throws the biggest parties, who brings down the headliners, and you lose scope of that over time, which is kind of sad. And a bunch of it.
How would you bring it back though? Like how would you how would you get like that plur feeling back again?
Not necessarily like how it was back in the day, but you could totally do undergrounds to bring down the whole underground vibe. You know, you do the party, you get people to come out just to be happy, have fun. You don't care about making money.
I'd rather go to a small party that had a great vibe than, you know, a massive that, you know, I was, you know, in the crowd getting, you know, basically in a mosh pit or something. You know, I'd rather be in a small place, you know, great vibe, great music.
Yeah, a lot of the Big Island parties had that kind of feel, which is why a bunch of us used to always fly over there and just party, and we pay for our own tickets, bring down equipment, and just have fun. You know, it's all about having fun nowadays. When you get older and you just want to let loose and not care about all the petty drama and all that going in the scene. Did you ever go to the Big Island parties? Did you ever get a
No,
chance?
I never got to it. Like I was
One day you'll go.
Yeah, hopefully one day. Yeah, just hit me up.
No,
Slide
nothing's
into
more
my DMs.
beautiful than seeing. Well, they can't do it nowadays, but they threw a party in Kalapana. I think that town that got burnt by lava years ago. You could see like lava flowing in the distance, maybe about 2 or 3 miles away. It was like the craziest.
Wow,
Like,
that's amazing.
it was like almost like a Burning Man kind of a spiritual feeling. And I'm not a hippie, but it was it was pretty fun. Let's talk about the next topic, which is music equipment and how it's changed from when we first started DJing compared to now. Let's start talking about like vinyl. If you guys want to elaborate.
I think I personally first started on vinyl before they even really nailed like CDJs. Like I think like the only thing that was out for CDs was CDJ 300s, like the top loading, like this
with the stutter.
yeah.
We had that Denon rack mountable one.
The 19-inch
World
rack
Cup.
mount.
Yeah, that thing was a piece of crap.
It was
one with the little spindle.
Yeah, that one.
There was no scratching on it, right? It was just a jog wheel.
Yeah.
So if you ever see like the jog function, that's what it kind of emulated. So like the scratching never really caught on until like the 1000s came out, the CDJ 1000s, the Mark 1s.
Right.
Yeah, that was kind of mind blowing for a lot of people. Like, it was like, wow, you can actually scratch on it. It's actually legit. Like, that came out 2001 or 2, something like. No, I want to say like 2002-ish. That's when it started to come out. Like, but before that, we want to talk about mixers. There's like these Euro like 3-channel mixers that was really popular. It was like 10-inch. It wasn't battle mixing. It was like 3 channels instead of 2. That was really popular. Like
the Vestex or the Newmarks. Or
yeah, those were very popular. They had that kill switches for like the EQs and like if you learn how to spin on that, like you can spin on anything.
Yeah, we back then we didn't have all the cool mixers with the different effects to like.
There was only one mixer that had the cool effects at the time. That was like the Pioneer DJM 500.
It had to be something like the 500.
Yeah, and that didn't have any kind of like time like lock on it. Like there's like you would have to manually kind of like mess with like the oscillations in there. Like you're winging it basically. Yeah, but like I think that when the 600 came out, also around 2002 2003ish, like that was pretty amazing. Like you can have the BPM get read, like it'll read the BPM from your vinyl, and then like from there, like it'll lock onto that BPM, like whatever effect you're doing. So
we're talking about the 600.
The 600.
Right.
Yeah, that was the first that ever happened. So that was kind of that's the first big mixer I ever bought, and to this day it still runs.
Oh yeah, Pioneers are a bunch of workhorses when it comes to the mixers and CDJs to an extent. One of my favorite things about the equipment back in the day was buying vinyl. Like nothing beats going to vinyl shops and just digging for
whatever, just the random, you never heard of it before, and you just throw it down and you sample it, and it's like, whoa, I gotta get this. And that's what I miss about digging for vinyl. And if you had something that was hard to find, that was your.
You could brag about it to your
Yeah,
friends. Like,
yeah,
I got that
this.
white label.
It's really
I
rare
love it.
too. Like once you found that one, like let's say your friend has it, it's like, oh, I don't know if I can buy it now because homeboy over there has it.
Yeah.
Like,
That's another thing with DJ etiquette is back in the day we would never play songs that the other DJs, our friends, would play.
Yeah.
Nowadays, oh my God, I hate it when people ask me, hey, can you send me your track list of your whole set? I'm like, dude, what the heck, man?
It's like find your own, you know.
Yeah, seriously. Like I worked hard to like put together this set. Why should I help you out? I mean, you should be doing that as your job as a DJ. That's the great thing about vinyl is that they can't always get the tracks that you got.
The only way to do it is like they would have to hover over the decks and try and read it that way, and that was the term train spotting.
Right.
Yeah, so they would just they would like hover over with their cell phone or whatever and like try and read it, and then everybody knew what you were doing.
I used to put my records in different sleeves in case they tried to look at what my sleeves
I used to
said.
put blank labels on top of mine just so like some key tracks.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, what was that? It's like, oh, sorry, you don't have this.
Nobody knows how hard it is nowadays, but back then we had to buy our own needles too, and oh my god, that was not cheap.
Yeah, it was like $150 a pop, and
What were you guys rocking needle wise?
I had the
The needles were like the part on the tone arm on the turntable that you would bring to parties. Like, you know, it's the part that touches the record.
Going back a minute, I was actually at a party, I want to say 2 years ago at Kakako. And
wait, the one that was all vinyl, right?
it was all vinyl.
All vinyl, yeah.
And I just remember some random kid coming up and like being tripped out. He's like, "What the hell are they DJing on?" It was like,
He didn't know what a turntable
Yeah,
was?
he didn't know
Wow.
what turntable and vinyl was, dude.
That's sad.
And I was like, "Wow, man!" I was like, "Whoa." But anyway, yeah, little side story there.
Oh, and my favorite part about having records is making your friends carry your records for you. That was-
You want to
Oh,
come out to
yeah.
the club tonight? All right, carry my stuff.
Yeah, usually when you spin at a club, you get a +1. And your +1 is usually your record, you know.
Record bitch.
your record carrier, too, if you want to be nice.
In that day, I was playing World Cafe from like 10 to 3, and then I would play 17s from like 3:30 to 6:30.
Oh, your whole car must
So
be like all vinyl.
yeah, I had to carry a lot of vinyl. It was a lot.
So one crate would be like 50 pounds or something like
Yeah.
that. Like one of those things.
I had a hand truck, and I would stack all my flight cases and stuff.
Yeah, I posted a picture of my flight case maybe a couple months ago, and people were like tripping out, like, "What is that thing?" Like, oh man, I feel old.
So like one of those crates would probably carry maybe like if you stuff it like 4 hours worth of vinyl. Yeah, and you only play like an hour worth, maybe two, like if you're lucky.
Another thing about vinyl that a lot of DJs nowadays are lucky that they don't have to deal with is the price of vinyl. Like, oh my god, ordering online was horrible back then.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're not gonna nail like every track that you always wanted to get like locally, right? So like they only got like maybe one if you're lucky for your genre. So you got to go online. So like Juno.co.uk, it's still around. They still sell records, and they just recently started selling MP3s now, downloads.
And then if you scratched your record and you're playing a set, and all of a sudden your needle starts hopping, and you're like, ah, damn it.
Yeah, if you're playing
If it's
outdoors or
if one
something.
of your favorite tracks, and you can't find it, then you're just
One of my favorite
SOL.
websites was HTFR, hardtofindrecords.com, and man, I used to just be like a vulture on that website and just keep refreshing, looking for the latest white labels and.
That was like
releases.
a eBay type thing, like for records, right? Is that
HTFR? No, it was a regular record.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
what was the other one then? It was hard.
It was Satellite Records.
Or Satellite Records.
Oh man, Satellite
yeah.
Records. I remember taking a trip to New York in 2001. So like that was my first big record shop. So you go to this shop and you dig in all these bins for like a whole bunch of like records. You get a stack and you go to like a listening station, and then you just one by one start playing, like, just to test it out. And whatever you want to keep, you kept. And then once you reject, you put it in this bin, and then they put it back for you. And that was maybe like $10 a record back in the day. If you were gonna do imports, that was like what, $15-17 and plus shipping.
When I was in Amsterdam, I spent half my days in the record stores there just digging. And yeah, my girlfriend at the time didn't like it, but
That's the life of
it's
a
like
DJ's girlfriend, man.
I have this opportunity here. I'm gonna of course take it.
Dude, you're easily spending like $100 a pop, like
Oh, yeah,
in one
yeah.
session. Like you're
Yeah.
just like, but 10 records are like $100.
Yeah, there went on with my vacation money and everything to vinyl, and then carrying it back to the States was another story. But
Oh, I know. Like, especially with vinyl, you got to be really careful. I think one of the worst fears of a DJ having vinyl is leaving it in your car or somewhere where the sun can hit it.
Oh yeah, I don't know, like these videos of these people like playing like out in the open, like in direct sunlight. Like, how does that not warp on you? Like
They probably have multiple copies of it. And
That was funny. Yeah, that was the jams back in the day.
Yeah, all vinyl sets are kind of rare nowadays. It's more of kind of
It's like a nostalgic kind of
Yeah.
like, yeah. It's like a more like a gimmick nowadays.
you'll see it on Boiler Room a lot. And even then, the DJs that play vinyl kind of aren't that great at it. I don't want to hate, but I'm just like, man, if you guys are gonna play vinyl, at least know how to be correct on the fly. And
There's
just
a there's a couple good ones.
yeah, there's
Nina
some.
Kravitz throws down like pretty crazy like vinyl sets. I can't really think of any much else.
So we're back getting our drinks and hanging out outside. So we're going to talk about our next topic, which is social media and how it's influenced not just the Hawaii scene, but DJs in general. And I know back then when we first started, there wasn't much social media. As we mentioned before, everything was done either through forums or through our own personal websites or just, marketing in general. So let's talk about what did you guys do to market yourselves back in the day? Like how did I know it was the word of mouth, but you want to elaborate your techniques and what you guys did to make yourselves known?
People really responded for like demo CDs basically. Like back then we used to distribute CDs. Whoever asked like during our sets, like, oh, do you have any demos or whatever, and then you just give them out. Sometimes it lands in like the right promoter's hands, and like you get more gigs that way, or like just people in general would be like into your music or support you. It was like, oh yeah, like I know exactly what you sound like. Yeah, they played in their car, like workouts or whatever.
Yeah, I think back in that day, I think that was my big downfall. Not downfall, but I should have pushed myself to promote myself a little bit better. Like I said last month on the last show, I was really lucky to be put in the place I was when I first started. Kind of just thrown into everything, World Cafe and 17s and everything.
A lot of it was word of mouth back then too. Yeah. So, they'd enjoy your set, they'd tell their friends. Especially with mixes, like when we used to put our mixes on CDs and cassette tapes. Cassette tapes were those little things, if you kids don't know what that is. And it would circulate a lot, and we'd find out and we'd share with each other, like, the latest tracks. And, we would just basically grow off of each other and give each other feedback. And with Facebook and such, it really helped because, in MySpace, it really helped DJs in general to market themselves better, and that's what kind of led to the whole I think, it's my opinion, is the whole superstar DJ thing, especially with DJs like Deadmau5, who normally back in the day you wouldn't have heard about unless you went to a forum or you saw them come down. But yeah, Facebook and all that's really helped a lot. And with Dev, he's really into graphic design. He's a professional, in my opinion, with all that stuff. You want to talk about maybe if that helped you to get your name out, or how, like, any gigs you got from other DJs?
Yeah, so I don't know if we covered this like before the audio went on, like the first time. Like we were talking about like iloveraving.com and like bulletin board systems and like so like bulletin boards is like you have like a topic and then people just talk about that topic for that one thread. And that's basically what like a bulletin board was. And then you have a bunch of them, and over time you get like a pretty sizable like knowledge base. And like each post, like you can personalize it by throwing in like a signature. And that's how I got started, like this little graphic, like a banner, where like people used to ask me like, oh yeah, could you make me a little signature, like, or a sig as it was. And then and somebody liked one of the SIGs I made and asked me for like a flyer design, like, and that's how I got started with the flyer thing. Like, so I've been doing flyers in Hawaii for like maybe like 15 years at this point. So like, yeah, so that's how you get noticed that way, like as far as graphics goes. And then like, oh, once you put yourself on the flyer, like you can spin too, and then that's how I got in too.
Nice.
Yeah, so that. So like the first like run of flyers I used to do was like the foam parties at Virus. So like every month they would throw something, and like I got to spin like whatever time slot that was open, and yeah, that's how if you're useful, people will put you on.
Yeah, if you have different skill sets to help with promotions or yourself in general, it's helps a lot in the long run. So let's go to the next topic, because I know Corey has to go soon. I want to hear his input on this. Is what are the most memorable things that you've seen at parties, whether it's DJing or just partying in general?
We're gonna do a whole show for this, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, this needs to be a whole show.
There's a lot of years in here.
You guys can go first, and I'll think of something.
Oh my
No
goodness.
holds barred. You could talk about whatever.
No holds barred.
Yeah, go for it. Just no names. Just
No names. Well, the first time I can't say that. Oh wow. Oh yeah. Here's a kind of a PG-13 one. Like one of the foam parties. You're just dancing. There's like foam up to your neck or whatever. And you're just like doing your thing, and then like you just started to notice like, oh, this one person is topless. Like this girl is topless. Like, and like that was when you're like 18, 19, like these clubs are like 18 and up. Like your mind is no. It was just like, you know.
Right.
Yeah, it's just neutral. That was cool though. That was like, oh wow, this is actually like a thing that happens. Like, I guess it's normal like outside the U.S. to do that. But this girl was just like topless, and everybody was just like cool with it.
I think one of the most crazy experiences. It wasn't really. I guess it's crazy. It's nothing like your story, but I was at How Sweet It Is 2000 in L.A. at the LA County Fairgrounds, and I was walking to my car, and I swear like everything was in slow motion. I saw this guy walking towards me. It was in slow motion. I see him literally go, and then projectile vomit came out like really slowly, and I did like this Matrix move where I went like, oh my god, dude. I swear to God, like it was like, I don't know how I had those reflexes. Man, that was a crazy experience in Cali. I've seen a lot of really crazy stuff. I'll talk about it in a little bit. How about you, Corey? You want to elaborate on anything?
I don't know if I can say any of these actually.
You can, just don't say names.
Most of them have to do with me, but
Okay. We'll pretend it's someone else.
Oh man, there's way too many. There's a lot of stuff that happened just from being a DJ at World Cafe. I'll put it that way, and girls wanted to come up and hang out in the booth and that kind of thing.
Was it the girl ducks down behind the DJ booth?
Yeah, there was
yeah.
There's a couple of instances where that was happening, but like not to you. It was like somebody else. Yeah.
It wasn't me. Sorry. Babe.
No, it's none of us.
Babe.
None of us. Yeah. Yeah, that was like a thing.
And of course, there's a time, I think I was playing at Atomics, and it was a large crowd, and someone came up to the booth and gave me a bottle of champagne, and I was pretty thirsty, started chugging it, and champagne's pretty bubbly, and I kind of coughed it back up onto the record that was playing, and yeah, that kind of stopped everything.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
brutal.
Pretty embarrassing.
At least you didn't eat like Simon before or something.
Oh, I remember meeting. This is the story how I kind of quote unquote met DJ Keebler. So like this was at the Eye, and we were just in the glow sticks at the time. We were just like doing our thing, doing aerials, and then, like it bounced off something. Like you know how you lose control of it and it bounces off. Like this one goes sailing and it bounces off his record. Like he was taking off a record, and as he was picking it up, the thing bounced off it. And he was just like looking at me like, "You jackass!" Like, and I ran away.
That goes back to playing vinyl. That was the thing with it. It's so much fun to play, but just the littlest thing could knock you off track.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you hear that, yeah, it's like the game of death right there. It's just, oh my god.
Yeah, like there was another like besides Kakako, there was this place like Pubikena, like in Hawaii Kai, that was like
Is that the beach that we had that party at?
Yeah, it was all the people drinking kava on the side.
Right? Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah. Were they locals? Yeah, they were.
Yeah. They had their own like thing going on. So like we had tables over there, and it was kind of windy, and then like we were playing records. And this one guy, like I'm not gonna say his name, but like he was playing a very rare record that he paid maybe like $50 for, like off of like hard to find records.
Oh my god!
So like the wind picks this record up off the thing and just like starts like digging it into the needle, like a sail, and then everybody's like, oh, like and then of course like he took it off and it was a giant gash now. His expensive record.
Oh man, I bet that gash like went to his heart.
All of us, we all knew that was his favorite track too. Like that sucked.
That's heartbreaking, man.
So what does that do to records? Like that's so there's like this popping like noise every time it goes over that now. So like every time it yeah, pack, like over the records.
I think ravers nowadays would probably hear that and be like, "Oh, that's a dope track."
What's that sample?
Oh man, that's terrible.
So let's talk about not like sick experiences or anything like that, but memorable in terms of like with your DJ gigs. Like, what was the most memorable experience you had in terms of like a DJ gig? Starting with you, Dev.
It was a Koala studio. Yeah, like I would consider this one of the best sets of my life. I think. Like I took like a year off or something, and I came back and like this. I remember one guy at the party that was like he was super bummed, like he just broke up with his girlfriend or something. Like I spent like I don't know. I played some I don't know. I was playing trance at the time, and all my friends was there, and it felt pretty good. And the day after, this guy messages me on MySpace. He was like, "Man, you just saved my life last night." Like,
that's really nice. Man.
Yeah. He was like, I was really down, and like you kind of made it okay. I was like,
were you playing last night? A DJ saved my life.
No.
That would have been awesome.
Oh man.
But still, that's really cool.
If you want to look this up, is 4 strings, daytime.
Daytime will open. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was the vocal, non-vocal?
Yeah, it was vocal.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, so like if you're feeling like pretty down and you hear that thing, like everything's gonna be okay. Yeah.
That's the one thing I loved about trance is trance nowadays it's emotional, but back in the day, like there's literally songs that were so enlightening and so
Yeah, it would move you to tears. Yeah.
I think the one song that made me cry that was trance progressive house was Airwave.
Airwave.
That song. That and
Before it got, like everybody had it, like back when it was fresh, like you were just this young kid that's just like kind of has this romantic kind of like ethereal kind of like vibe to it. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. What happened to trance, man?
It's hard to find the good stuff, man. It's hard to find.
It is. I mean, a lot of trance DJs tend to play more of the poppy stuff nowadays. When Tiesto came down, I was happy that he played a couple of his trance remixes from back in the day. And I know Dream State. There's actually a banner over there that says Dream State, so I don't know if a bunch of the Hawaiian brand people are going to check it out, but yeah, I want to check one of those parties out one day. Like,
best trance set I've ever heard in my life recently, Paul Van Dyke.
Oh, dude.
He still kills it. He kills it so bad.
I'm so sad that he hurt himself recently.
What happened?
He fell off like a 30-foot stage or something, and he had to get airlifted to the hospital.
Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you ever watch his, like, you can see the breakdown of like his, like how he plays. It's all live, and it's like he does that legit, like on the fly.
He came down here 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I tranced out, and when I say tranced out, like I don't know if that's still a term now there, where you just close your eyes and you're like, oh.
Yeah. Like if it doesn't do that, that's not real trance.
Yeah, exactly. It's like almost like church music to an extent.
Mm.
Okay, so do you have any memorable experiences regarding a DJ set?
My most memorable one would be at Escape in Amsterdam. I was lucky enough to be able to play there and a couple other places in Europe back in 2002. And just awesome vibe. Escape is still there, in fact, today. And what is that, 15 years later? And just awesome vibe. It's in Amsterdam. I mean, they party pretty hard. The sun doesn't go down till like 10 o'clock at night, so they party pretty hard till early in the morning. And just so happened that night, I met Ferry Corsten, and that's how I got linked up with Tsunami Records and Tsunami.
So Ferry Corsten is his alter.
Yeah, that was before I used the new DJ name
right,
too.
Corey
so,
Ferren.
yeah.
Yeah, we elaborated on this joke last podcast, so check out the last podcast if you want to understand what that joke is.
Yeah, it is my real name. It isn't a play on Ferry Corsten.
Right.
Everyone, I get asked that a lot.
I think for me, one of my best experiences for DJing was playing in the Philippines. I went to the Philippines not knowing what the crowd liked, and I think I got a little too drunk. I had a couple of DJ friends up there that hooked me up with a gig, and I don't want to. I'm not usually the type to brag, but I killed it, and to have that international experience was one of the most enlightening things for me because not a lot of people get the experience playing outside of their own country, and
It's
yeah.
yeah, just like you, I'm very grateful and to be able to have that opportunity to be able to do that. It's playing in front of a crowd you've never played in front of. It's one thing to play in front of one that completely different country, different culture.
Different language even.
Differently, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
and
that's like all.
that's
Yeah,
that's where
insane.
you get that feeling like this music is transcends language and culture and so many people around the world are in tune with it, and that's to me that's what makes this music great.
Right. Do you have to get going soon? Is it
I
30?
do. I'm sorry,
Okay,
man.
take it off, dude. Yeah, totally. Thank
Sorry,
you for coming on
guys.
the show. Thank you.
Be sure to check out Outcast Radio
Yeah, totally.
Saturdays 4 to 6 p.m.
And then next month, me and Corey and DJ Unz will be there again for the
Yep.
next podcast. So we're gonna go into a couple of topics. Let's let Corey take off real fast. Thank you.
I'm gonna message you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, they won't leave me alone.
Hey, brother, drive safe.
Take it easy. I'll see you the next one. Yeah. I'll be back like in the fall maybe.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we'll have you on again next time.
Okay, cool, man.
Okay, so we're
for the show too, man.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I have a SoundCloud link, but like I need to record one anyway.
Okay.
I'll make a new one. Yeah. And we'll talk about the logo. Yeah, we'll do that.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, no problem.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
watch out for the camera tripod. Corey Ferren has left the building, so we're gonna end the night with talking about dancing in the rave scene and how it's evolved from how we used to dance back in the day to how it is now. Let's talk about what was your styles back then? I know you mentioned glow sticking with the whole Keebler story. So let's
Oh yeah, like everybody glow stick back in the day. Back then it was like it was the stick and it was an LED light that was I forgot photon light.
photons.
Yeah, so that was like the Hawaii style, quote unquote. Like it was very fast.
Yeah, the whole you can find a couple of videos on YouTube that shows the difference if you look up Odyssey.
Yeah, there's a
Glow
lot
sticking.
more aerials and like yeah.
There was a lot of
juggling.
major differences in the glow sticking scene back then because I think San Fran was more about you hold the glow sticks between your two fingers and you do a lot of figure eights.
And you trace around your body kind of thing. It's very smooth. Hawaii didn't have that.
Yeah,
It's-
glow sticking doesn't really exist nowadays. There's a website for glowsticking.com, but a lot of it is more
like poi balls now. I think like more on
poi
strings.
balls. Yeah, a lot of glow stringing. Let's talk about liquid because I know.
Oh yeah, that was one of the styles too. So like I used to do liquids, which is like it's just like you have a rail, like quote unquote rail.
Can you give us a demonstration real fast?
There you go. There you go.
There, that's fluid, dude.
Yeah. So you do that with white gloves on and
And black light usually.
in black light
somewhere.
it will glow and like it'll start tracing if depending on what state of mind you were in. Yeah, like sometimes this is before people started putting LEDs inside the gloves. So like I remember like nobody really started doing that until like I think me and Roland, DJ Badmouth. At the time we were just like club kids or whatever, and like we started putting the LED lights like in our thumbs. Like both thumbs has it, so like when you squeeze it, like a light would pop up, and then we would like pass it like.
You're talking about Conjuring, right?
Conjuring. So like I was like, yeah, nobody else did Conjuring back then, so I was like, we were the first to do that.
In Cali, when I first, before I moved down here back 2001, it was really in the rough drafts. We didn't have photons back then. We had like these Spy Kid finger lights that we would attach to our fingers and put white gloves over, but it's nowhere near what Dev is talking about. But yeah, like the stuff they used to do, I remember watching them do The Conjuring, and then eventually it evolved, 2006, 2007 into the whole...
Yeah, we did that one LED light like through the gloves, and then this other kid started putting it in all his fingers. That was I think it's Spider. I think his name was. It's a military kid.
Right, yeah, I remember Spider. Yeah, totally.
Okay. So he started taking that. He saw us. And he was like, okay, let's put it on all the fingers, and then let's just start making this forming this crude kind of like dance style around it. And I don't know how much of that influenced nationally or whatever. At least in Hawaii, like that was like a thing. That was his thing. We had our thing, and then whoever wanted to like follow that, it was like yeah, they did that.
Yeah, it was very rare back then. Like, I know gloving is very popular in Hawaii, and there's all these like little crews and such. But back in 2005, 2006, it didn't really exist. So I think the rave scene consisted of like maybe 300 or 400 core people, and then you had the trendies come out every.
Yeah,
so
they swap in and on, and the kind of gloves too that like came in was like. It was the kids in ROTC probably, or like the
military, yeah.
Military. So the thing that the ones I used were like military dress gloves, which is like way thicker than any, because it has to go through like the dancing every weekend like for years. So like that's what I use. Some people use like some thinner kind of material, like
I
like
used to
Halloween
use
style.
the band marching band gloves.
Oh yeah. Those are a little bit thinner, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And then
Really cool.
eventually you went from liquid to house stepping, correct?
Yeah, 2000. Well, before that though, like we were all like doing like the like Nordic tracking and like candy
okay.
stepping.
We gotta explain the Nordic track candy stepping because it's like non-existent nowadays.
If you guys look up on YouTube or something, like Nordic track, like it was this exercise like apparatus thing.
It's NORDIK, not the regular spelling of Nordic track. If you want to find the videos.
Yeah, so it like kind of simulated like cross country skiing, and you did that on the beat was so fast. It was. Oh, well, hold on, our thing is just cut off.
Oh, that's okay. You're still recording, right? So. Oh yeah, okay, we're good.
Okay. So we were okay. So the beats were so fast. We were talking like 136 to 140 BPM, and like the only way that you can really dance to it was do this move where it's like cross country skiing on the floor, and I think that like built up like everybody's like stamina is like dancing wise, and like it's pretty fun, I guess. Like that was kind of like you do that motion and then you add in like you like a short yukin here and there. Get the reference.
Yeah, it really built up your calves, and unfortunately, I think when the scene died back in 2004, it kind of disappeared for a while.
Yeah, so like so around 2004, like progressive house had a moment. Like it got popular. Like venues like Living Room and like Blue Rooms, like kind of started to get popular back then, and then the BPM started to slow down, maybe like to 128, something like that, and that you get to actually express a lot more like footwork. So people got into. There's this thing from New York that like started to catch on, house stepping. So if you look that up, it's a little bit more intricate. And it's a little bit more soulful. It's not just like banging like repetitive moves over and over. You actually get to like throw in more soulful moves and stuff like that. Yeah, you can easily find that on the internet, and it's still evolving to this day.
Yeah, I started taking lessons from a really well-known house dancer in San Francisco, Jordi Santiago. It's a really good workout, but at my age, I gotta like slowly learn because my calves can't even handle it nowadays. Let's also talk about another style of, not really another style of liquid, but popping in general, because I know you were a big popper, and I kind of was into it, but not really.
Yeah, popping was like, it's always kind of like a thing. I guess like liquiding is kind of in the same kind of vein as that. Like it kind of stems from like the same kind of like bass moves, except popping has, of course, it has the hits involved, where liquids do not have that.
Right. A lot of popping is more rigid compared to liquid, where it's a lot more fluid and liquidy, so to speak.
Yeah. So it just depends on like the style of music, I guess, or what kind of vibe you have. Like you want to like portray like just like any kind of like freestyle kind of dance move. You kind of. Are you like one of those guys, or are you one of these? Like if you hit like harder, just a different energy, and it's a good way to just like switch it up if you're battling somebody and like you notice you're running out of moves, you switch over to like a different style,
So I want to ask you, what is your opinion on like the most popular style of dancing right now in the rave scene, which is shuffling? What is your opinion, like honestly?
I like where it's going. So like before, it was just like Melbourne shuffle used to be just one move, and it used to be done to hardcore. Not many people know that. So like so early on, it was like the fastest music. It was like 150 BPM or something. Like they would just repetitively spam this one move over and over, and then like as soon as it like you get like slower BPMs, and then you just get to groove it. Like you add a little bit more. As soon as you start crossing over other genres of dance into it, so I see more jazzy like influences on there. I see a lot of like housing kind of like influence on it, like
A lot of
like Charleston type stuff. That kind of footwork. Like it starts to get interesting. So like it's getting deeper, and that's how styles evolve.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it has to stand up to that. Like I like where it's going. Yeah, like I think it's called like cutting shapes and stuff like that. Yeah, I like that. So it's the Charleston basically. Like everything is a remix. So
right.
So
What do you think about because I know gloving kind of came from the whole liquid scene. Props out to Fu Manchu, who lives in Hawaii. He was one of like the most well-known
Liquid Pop Collective.
Yeah, him and Liquid Pop Eric. Those were the two guys I always used to watch on all the websites dedicated to rave dance music back in the day. But let's talk about gloving. Like, do you know anything about gloving and the competitions they have nowadays?
Not lately, because I've been out of it, like out of that scene for a while. Like I know it's having its moment here in Hawaii right now. As far as back, I can only speak back then. Like there wasn't any kind of like liquid competitions. Like the only one that I've ever been in is like New York, and that was against Liquid Pop Collective themselves. So it was me, and it was like Fu Manchu. It was like not Eric, he wasn't there. It was like Frequency and like it was the D Styles, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
The main guys from the crew.
Yeah, the main guys, but yeah, like I was just doing like just regular liquids, and then they had this full body style like already fleshed out, like, and I got smoked at this thing. And then like I came back. This might have been like 2001. Yeah, I came back and I started to work on like the full body type stuff, and yeah, and you just evolve from there.
That's the one thing I miss about like the whole liquid style is not a lot of events have black lights, so it's kind of hard to do that style because a lot of it is dependent on having a black light with the white gloves because it gives it that liquidy looking style. But you could still do it without the gloves.
Yeah, the last club I've ever seen that has like a lot of black light would be the what was that club in Kalihi?
The shop?
The shop.
Yeah, the shop.
Yeah, that had a lot of black light in there, but not many liquiders, like it's that happens. So
yeah, by the time the shop came around, it was mostly about shuffling, and one of the first shufflers that was in Hawaii was Hawaii Brian's own Locke, who's the sound engineer for this place, and he's probably the very first guy I've seen doing shuffling back then.
I remember battling him. Yeah, he was very good. Yeah, it's just but I was doing house stepping at that point, and then like I remember like the circles back then. People were like, "Oh, old school," like it's like, when did that become old school?
When we got older.
It's still going. Yeah.
There's a lot of shuffling isn't too popular in Hawaii right now, from what I've seen. A lot of it is gloving, and unfortunately, I'm like one of like maybe 2 or 3 other people that's still liquid every now and then, because Dev lives in the mainland now, so hardly get to see it. So I'm still trying to push it. Who knows? Maybe some raver kid will see it on YouTube. And
yeah, if you ever see us like on just partying or whatever, it's like, oh, I heard you do liquids. We'll probably bust it out for you, just for like just so you see it.
Totally, but if Dev's there, I'm not gonna bust it out because he'll smoke me. So
whatever.
Okay, so we're hitting up at the 30-minute mark. Do you want to say anything to the listeners? You want to say anything about like future events or mixes? Talk about like your Facebook page.
Oh yeah. If you guys want to see more of what I'm up to, check out either at Dev Chang on Twitter or my Facebook. If you want to check out my DJ stuff, at DJ Dev Chang on Facebook, you'll find all my stuff there. Any future gigs and stuff like that.
Awesome, man. Can't wait to have you in a couple of months when you come back. We'll have more topics to talk about. Maybe like your gigs up in the mainland.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm looking forward to
dude.
that.
I appreciate it. You're an old school homie. I just want to say thank you to Dev, Corey, who had to leave due to a gig, DJ Uns, who couldn't make it tonight. He'll be there next month. I want to say thank you to Tim for the videography. Check you guys out next month. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Aloha.